frustrating evening, Rob?
A little bit. I've just said to the players, the truth is, we've got I actually thought after last week we actually got ourselves emotionally and physically into a pretty good place. I think the first half showed that. It was a right old battle, and I think it was important for us to show that we'd got a good amount of recovery in from last week, and we were prepared to come here and fight. And I thought large parts of that, actually for the whole of the game, we did pretty well, but we were massively undone by a period of ill discipline under relatively little pressure, and that's probably the thing that's annoyed me. I think we went 3 penalties in a row from our back 3 out wide on edges when, like I say, I think on one of them we'd driven them back from the try line pretty much to the 22, and I think in a game like today it was almost certainly going to come down to penalty shots at goal, and when it was tight, I think when it was 1 point, to be fair, Gloucester got the pens, and we didn't, and I think that was an important part of the game, and as I say, we've let ourselves down a little bit with that lack of discipline.
Conditions were difficult, but were you disappointed at how little you threatened the Gloucester line?
No, not really. I thought we had our moments, didn't we? I think in the first half we probably had more moments than Gloucester, but we erred, didn't we? We erred on the try line. We actually erred on the try line 3 or 4 times today and got turned over. And as I say, they're things that we've been very good at this season, and we came up a little bit short in them today. As I said, it's a difficult one to really break down straight after the game. I think we put a lot to it, but as I said, when the game was tough and the game was tight, when we needed to just show, like I say, that bit more discipline and just that a little bit more composure, we didn't, and Gloucester did. And I've said to the lads, I think Gloucester won 2 or 3 battles that were important tonight, and that's why they've won. And sometimes games away from home in those kind of conditions, they do come down to 1 or 2 things, and one of them's, a huge one of them is discipline. And as I said, that's probably the area that's disappointed me the most, because set piece on a wet night, there's going to be knock-ons, there's going to be errors, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be the odd pass goes to ground. Those things were happening in the game, and you can deal with those. But actually, when you give up, as I say, when you give up penalties, it just kills you on a night like tonight with a goalkeeper like Greg Laidlaw. You're going to suffer.
Just on a positive, Rob, you've got a point, and that takes you very close now to securing that top 4.
Yeah, obviously, I've said to the lads, we're doing okay, and there was in a lot of ways, I know they've been involved in a couple of big weeks now. It was a big weekend last weekend, and we put a lot into it. As I say, we put a lot into it emotionally as well as physically, I wasn't expecting there to be absolutely no hangover from it, and that's why I was pleased with our first half showing. I thought that gave us a great opportunity then to try and create a little bit of pressure. We did score the first points in the second half, but then we pretty much gave up that lead pretty quickly with a piece of poor defending, and then as I said, it was going to be a ding-dong battle, and we probably started to slip away as Gloucester became a little stronger. Obviously, the positives of the bonus point are very important. And we've got to collect a lot of points in this way over the season. If we don't win, we tend to collect a losing bonus point. But the one thing that frustrates me is I did say to the players before the game that, come on, let's go out tonight and take something for ourselves, and actually not be watching the games over the weekend and waiting for someone else to give us something. And actually now we're in the scenario where I think if Leicester win tomorrow, I think we're in the top 4, which, as good as it might be, actually it's not really how you want to do it. I'd like us to be a team and go and take it for themselves, and I don't really want to give the players the excuse that we were involved in a big game last week, because if you want to be a top 4 side, if you want to be a good team in Europe, then you go from a quarter-final to a Crunch Premiership game, and to another Crunch Premiership game, then a semi-final, and that's how they roll, and you've got to be able to deal with that. So I'm not looking to make too many excuses for ourselves. I'd rather we face up to things, and we're a little bit tough on ourselves, and we improve the things we need to.
It was James Short hanging on to that ball, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's always moments in games, and that was an important moment. It looked like we could have created some real pressure from it, and as I say, what will be. But I think overall, you can't really control the odd handling error in a lot of ways, but when you go penalty, that's something you should be able to control. You should be able to control things that you can see happening right in front of you and happen more than once, and we didn't. There was a period of about 5-10 minutes where you're penalty, yellow card, and as I say, in 1 point game, that's pretty soon going to change things.
Was Jack's tackle one of those things that should have been avoidable, really?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Everyone knows what you're allowed to do around in the tackle area. I think of all of them, probably the one against Ollie Woodburn was probably the toughest one, because I think he's counter-rucked and brushed the scrum half. But at the same time, we've stopped them. We're out wide. do you have to gamble on trying to fight through a ruck and bumping and banging into people? Well, probably not. You know, James Short one this side was an unnecessary penalty. You know, rolling around and still in contact with a tackle player. Jacks, you know, it's a lift tackle. Everyone knows you can't do them anymore. You know, they're pens that need to be avoided. You know, and I think, as I say, because they happen one after the other at a crucial time in the game, it stopped all our momentum really, and it made things very hard for us. And like I say, I'm not going to kind of go after the guys individually, because we don't really do that. You know, they've put a lot into the game. But I think as a team, it's worth us noting that, you know, if we're going to be in big games, we're going to be involved in quite a lot of tight games, and sometimes, you know, staying tough, staying strong, staying on the right side of the referee, it's going to be very important. You know, we lost the game by 1 point last week. You know, and so these games are going to be tight. They're going to be big games.
How's Jeff Carling?
Jeff, well, he had a HIA, and the medics decided not to bring him back on after half time. But I haven't spoken to them since the end of the game.
Was that the case with Lockie Turner as well? Or?
Lockie was knee, sore knee. Okay.